Good morning, class. In yesterday's class, we are discussing regarding the break-even point analysis. So we have seen this graph yesterday, and first and foremost we have to draw this total variable cost curve. Then we have to draw this total fixed cost curve, and then we have to go with the total revenue curve. Here you are seeing these concepts. That means total variable cost or total fixed cost or total revenue. They all are in a straight line. Actually, in the original business scenario, they will not be like that. Okay, they will be just like some types of curves. So for easy understanding, we are making it as just like a straight line, and we are analyzing. Okay, so everyone should note that we also have here the total variable cost curve and the total fixed cost curve. Okay. So here this is the total revenue curve, and where this both meet, this total cost curve and this total revenue curve, that creates the break-even point. BEP is nothing but the break-even point. Okay, where we don't have either profit or loss. Okay, if your production, see here, this is the volume of products or sales, and this is the cost revenue. Okay, if your points are in this range, if your meeting points are in this range, definitely there will be loss. If it is in this range, there will be in the profit. You will be in the profit there. Okay. So here we have mentioned, we have already seen this example right there. Okay. Now here we have some assumptions, right? And also we have seen this formula also. What are the general formulas we are using? And we have applications for the break-even analysis also. That is make or buy decisions. Okay, make or buy decisions. We have seen in a workshop where he has a demand of 150 units. This example also we have already seen. Okay, so this break-even analysis helps us of choosing a product mix. Okay, when there is a limiting factor, when there is a limiting factor, it is helping us to choose how many number of products of X has to be made, and how many products of Y has to be made. Based on the limitation, we have some limitation here. So you can see here. So if a company is dealing with production of more than one product, so if company is dealing with more than one product, the company wants to know uh, how many products of X has to be manufactured and how many products of Y has to be manufactured. See, for example, we have given a machine tool factory has a planned capacity of enough hours of 9,000. That means a machine tool factory can work only for 9,000 hours. Okay, and its annual fixed charges are around 50,000 per year. Okay, per year a machine tool factory can work only for 9,000 hours, and we have 50,000 rupees per year. It can produce two products, X and Y. Okay, so it can produce X and Y. Okay, but we have three cases here. One is make A or make Y. That means making only X product or making only Y product, or else the third case is making some products of X and some products of Y. Okay, here we have tabulated it. So what is the selling price of this X is 250 rupees. and Y is 400 rupees. Okay. So variable cost for X product is 100 rupees and for product Y is 200 rupees. So actually the demand for X product is 25,000 units and but product Y is 5,000 units. But for making the product X is to produce product X we require 3 hours. So we have to consume from this 9,000 hours 3 hours to produce a single unit of X. Okay. In a similar fashion for Y also, for producing a single unit, same machinery we had we require out of this 9,000 for single unit we require 5 hours. Okay. So what we want to find here? So what product mix will maximize the net profit of the factory? Okay. So we can produce product X and product Y, both we can produce, but we have only 9,000 working hours. So in that limited period, which combination is best for us to get the maximum profit? We have to identify. So the rest we can buy from outside. Okay, if we don't produce by our own, we can buy from outside the rest of the products. Okay, that is maybe X or maybe Y, whichever it is. Okay. So we have to find out what product mix will be maximize the profits of the factory, and we have to calculate the maximum net profit also. So first and foremost, we have to find out the contribution on each product. Okay, we have to find the contribution on each product, and since there is a limitation on the plant capacity in terms of hours of utilization, we have to find out contribution per hour also. Okay. So first what we are doing, just we do like a table like first here. So selling price of product X is 250. It is clear, it is already given in the table, previous table, the question itself. Okay. Product Y is 400. It is also given there. So variable cost also it is mentioned here. So variable cost is also mentioned. So now selling price minus variable cost gives us the contribution, right? Selling price minus this variable cost gives us the contribution of each product in rupees, right? So number of hours needed to manufacture. Okay, number of hours needed for manufacturing is for product X is 3 and contribution per hour. What is this contribution per hour? So to manufacture a single unit we require 3 hours, but our contribution is 150, right? 150 rupees. So contribution per hour is around 50. Okay, and product Y also you can calculate like this. Selling price is 400 and we have a variable cost of 200 rupees. So contribution in rupees, if we want to get, subtract this variable cost from the selling price, we get 200 rupees. Okay, but manufacturing a single unit of product Y will be taking 5 hours of time. So with that we can identify that. So if you want to produce product X within an hour, we can produce around 50 number of units. If you want to produce product Y, it will be producing only 40 units. Okay. So see here. So in this table, we can identify that contribution of X is higher per hour. Okay. So that means contribution per hour. That means if you manufacture product X, we are able to get more profit. That is 50, 40, 50 rupees. We can say like that. If you manufacture Y, you can get only profit of 40 per hour, 40 rupees per hour. We assume like that. Now, so its contribution is more, its contribution is less. So it's better to manufacture product X. Okay, but we have a limitation that we can sell only 2,500 units. See here, demand. There is only demand for 2,500 units of product X. Okay, if you manufacture more than that, it will be loss for you. Okay, we have to produce only 2,500 units of X. Okay, so see here now, we can't sell more than 2,500 units. So to manufacture, we need, so we require 2,500 units of product X. To manufacture these 2,500 units, how many hours we require? We require 7,500 hours. Okay, how did you get it? Okay, these 2,500 units which are in demand multiplied with the number of hours required to produce a single unit, that is 3 hours. We multiplied the both, so we got to 7,500 hours. Totally, how many hours are in our hand? We have only 9,000 hours in our hand. So how many hours are left over? We have only 1,500 hours. Okay, so we give for product Y only 1,500 hours. Okay, so within the 1,500 hours, how many products it can produce? So for producing single unit, it requires 5 hours. So we have 1,500 hours. This 1,500 hours divided by this 5 hours gives us the 300 units only. That means if we can produce only 300 units of Y, but we have a demand of around see, we have a demand for product Y. How many product of Y is necessary for us? We actually require around 5,000 units. Okay, but we are producing only 300 units out of 5,000. The remaining units will be buying outside. Why? Because if you produce, is it possible for us to produce by our own? So 9,000 divided by 5, how much you'll be getting? Tell me the answer. You calculate. 9,000 divided by 5. I can produce only 1,800 units. Okay. If I want to produce only product Y also, I will be able to produce only 1,800 units out of 5,000. Rest of the units I have to buy outside only. Okay. So instead of that, it's better to produce X more, and keeping the, instead of keeping the machinery ideal after production of X, we will be producing Y. Okay. So to reduce some of the cost which is buying instead of buying outside total thing. That's the reason why we have manufactured sufficient amount of X products, that is 2,500 products, and the remaining time we use it to produce the machinery for product Y. Okay, see how we will find out the net profit. Okay, so X products versus X products was is to Y products are like this, right? 2,500 units of X and 300 units of Y are produced. Okay, so see here, X products how many? 2,500. Y products how many? 300. So contribution per unit. So contribution per unit means just profit what we are getting on single unit is 150 rupees. Okay, and for 300 units per 200 per unit is 200. So this both we have to, this 2,500 units multiplied with this contribution per unit 150 gives us 3,000, sorry, 3,75,000, and this 300 and per 200, okay, at the rate of 200 we get 60,000. So we got totally 4,35,000 rupees. So this is the total contribution. So we less the fixed cost. Total contribution minus the fixed cost gives us the net profit, right? I think we have already studied there. So the maximum net profit resulting from the product mix of 25,000 units of X and 300 units of Y is 3,85,000 rupees. Okay, by manufacturing these products in our own industry, we are getting a profit of 3,85,000 rupees. Okay, so so why we have calculated first X only? Why? Because it is having less amount of time for producing single unit, and also the same type of the total hours are 9,000 only. With the 9,000 hours, we can't produce the total Y also, which will be sufficient. The required sufficient amount of Y is not a, we are unable to produce it. Okay, so we are able to produce the required total required amount of X products. Okay, and the remaining time we have used for same machinery for producing the product Y. Okay, so not only this, we also have some other concept called as drop or add decision. Drop or add decision, what is this? So if your company is producing product B and C, out of this B and C, so if the company wants to introduce a new product, say some D, but it is unable to produce all the three B, C, and D, because even it also have a limitation of a time maybe, or else it's not possible to produce all the B, C, and D. What is this? D is nothing but the upgradation of B. If you think this product D is nothing but the upgradation of product B, we have to identify whether it is a good decision or not. Okay, if it has two products B and C, the particulars of the price per unit and variable cost per unit and the percentage of share in the total volumes are given in the respective tables. You can see here. So first one is the product mix one, that is product B and product C combination. Product B is having selling price of 40 and variable cost of 16, and percentage of share in the sales is around 40%, and C is selling price is 50 and the variable cost is around 20 rupees, and percentage of share in the sales is around 60%, right? The total fixed cost during the year in the amount, total fixed cost per year, it is around 1 lakh rupees, and the total volume of sales in terms of revenue, this is the fixed cost in rupees and this is the volume of sales in rupees, that is around 8 lakh rupees. Okay, now the company want to drop product B as it is yielding less contribution per year. So they already calculated the contribution per unit. Okay, that means which is giving the, they identified the contribution, that means profit per unit regarding the product B, they identified what is less. So they want to, instead of you want to add a product D. So if D is added to the next new, the fixed cost has raised from 1 lakh to 1,25,000 actually. Okay, if they manufacture B and C, the fixed cost is around 1 lakh rupees. But if you want to produce C and D, total fixed cost raised from 1 lakh to 1,25,000, and the sales volume is likely to increase. So previously we have a revenue of only 8 lakh rupees. Now it is around 9 lakh rupees. So this is the scenario. We have to identify whether BC product combination is best or CD product combination is best. Okay. So for the C and D also they have seen here. So selling price, the C is same, right? 50 rupees is selling price and variable cost is 20 rupees. But percentage of share they have changed it. they have increased the share of this one, and later the remaining percentage of share is the, if you add this both, it should be 100%, right? So it is only 30%. Why? Because the product which is new to the market can't be accepted right immediately. It takes some time. It takes some time to accept the new product. Okay. So the share is around only 30%. Okay. Now we have to find. So we have a situation of production of products B and C and C and D, and we have to compare the both. Which one is which combination, BC or CD? Which one is giving high amount of profit? Okay. Which one is giving high amount of profit? That only we have to follow. Okay. We have to identify that. Now, so we have two types of situations. First situation you can see the products B and C. First, what we have to do, we have to find out the contribution ratio for each product. Okay. First, we have to find out the contribution ratio for each product. So, contribution ratio, how you will be getting? Generally, contribution is nothing but selling price minus the variable cost gives the contribution rate. Now, how we have to get the selling price? So, selling price is already, so first we are calculating for product B. Selling price minus variable cost by selling price into percentage of share in the total sales gives us. Okay. So selling price of product B is 40 rupees and variable cost for product B is 16 rupees. It is given in the table. So selling divided by selling price of product B is 40. The percentage of share in the total sales is 40%, right? 40% in the sense 40 divided by 100, that is around 0.4. Okay. So totally it is 0.6 into 0.4. It is contribution ratio for product B is 0.24. Okay. Next, contribution ratio for product C we will be identifying. That is selling price of product C minus selling variable cost of product C divided by the selling price of product C. This total thing multiplied with the percentage share of total sales of product C. It is around 60%. Okay. We got that means 60% in the sense 0.6, right? So we got it as 0.36. So we have to find out the total contribution ratios. Total contribution ratios of B and C is just to add this both 0.24 plus 0.36. Total we got 0.6. So we have to find, this is the contribution ratios, regarding the contribution ratios. So to find out the total contribution, we have as sales, total amount of sales multiplied with the contribution ratio. We get the total contribution in terms of rupees. Okay, what are our sales? If we are producing product B and C, we have a sales of 8 lakh rupees. Okay, this 8 lakh rupees with 0.6 we get as 4 lakh 80,000 rupees. Okay, now this is the total contribution, well and good. So how to know the profit? So we subtract the fixed costs from this contribution. Okay, we subtract this fixed cost from the contribution, so we get a profit of 3,80,000 rupees. So out of total 8 lakh rupees, we got of 8 lakh rupees is the total revenue, well and good, but we got a profit of 3,80,000 rupees. So if you, this B and C, by manufacturing B and C, we got a profit of 3,80,000 rupees. Now we have to calculate for C and D combination. So don't think that we have already calculated for C once here. Why? Because here in the combination of C and D, the percentage of contribution is different. Okay, 70% here. Previously it is only 60%. So it is 50 minus 20 by 50. Selling this thing is same. Selling price minus variable cost. Selling price minus variable cost divided by selling price multiplied with the contribution. So no, percentage of sales in the total sales. Okay, percentage of sales in the total sales is 70%. So we can write it as 0.7. So we got a 0.42. In the single fashion, we calculated for D also. So selling price of product D minus the variable cost of product D by selling price multiplied with the percentage of sales of product D, we got as, that is 30%. So we got 3.3. So it is around 0.6. We add this product's contribution ratios once again. Here we got like this. So now if you see, if it is the combination of C and D, we have a sales of 9 lakh rupees. Okay, 9 lakh rupees multiplied with this contribution ratio, we got 5 lakhs 22,000 rupees. Previously, total contribution is only 4 lakh 80,000 rupees. Now it is 5 lakhs 22,000. But we have to identify the profit, right? Here we got a profit of 3 lakhs 80,000 rupees. Why? Because contribution we got 4 lakh 80,000 minus fixed cost of 1 lakh. Here, now what we have to do, this 5 lakhs 22,000 minus the fixed cost is now is not 1 lakh rupees. Now it is 1 lakh 25,000 rupees. So we got a 3 lakh 97,000 profit. So when compared, so totally we got a profit of 17,000. Okay, that means not 17,000. We have a profit difference of 17,000. So what we have to do then? It's better to go for combination of C and D only. That the product combination of C and D is better, because in the initial stage itself we are able to get 17,000 rupees of profit. In future also we may increase that profit also, right? That profit can be increased. That means the change is recommended, right? Okay. So we have some impact of changes in cost or selling prices on break-even point. So if you change the cost or selling prices, it is also going to affect this break-even point. Okay, see how it is going to affect. Break-even point is short-term phenomenon. Why? Because we think that we have only two varieties of cost, either fixed cost or the variable cost. We don't consider semi-variable cost and semi-fixed costs. So break-even point is a short-term phenomenon. Okay. So amount of total fixed cost and variable cost and selling price. The selling price is also going to determine the break-even point. Okay. If there is any change in one of these variables, break-even point is also likely to change. Okay. Following are the likely conclusions. What happens? What happens if which one changes? If the fixed cost is increases, the profit will come down. Okay, that we already know that. If the fixed cost is increased, so this is the profit, right? Okay, if the fixed cost is increased, automatically the profit is going to down. To maintain the same level of profit, the firm has to produce more volume. If we are unable to uh, control the fixed cost, unavoidable. If the fixed cost is unavoidable, if it is going to increase, so we have to produce more number of products automatically, right? So if the fixed cost is decreased, okay, if the fixed cost is decreased, a firm attains the break-even point at lower levels of profit itself, of production itself. Okay, that means the break-even point is going to move left side of the, that is very much near to the y-axis. Okay, fixed cost decreases means automatically profit is going to increase. That means for the less number of volume of products on also we can have a break-even point. That means no profit, no loss condition. So here, if the fixed cost has increased, we have to produce more number of products such a way that the profit will not decrease. Okay. If the variable cost increases, what happens? The contribution margin gets reduced. Contribution margin reduced. Hence, to maintain the same profitability, the firm has to produce more number of products to reach the break-even point. Same thing. So if the variable cost also increases, we have to produce more number of goods such a way to have the same break-even point. That is no profit, no loss condition. Okay. If the variable cost decreases, if the variable cost also increases, contribution margin increases. So automatically the break-even point will also occur at lower level of production. No need to produce more amount of products. Okay. If selling price increases, the contribution margin also increases. The firm attains break-even point at lower level of production. Okay. If we increase, that means your production is, we are not going to increase the production or lower the production, but we are increasing the selling price. So automatically the contribution margin increases and the break-even point can attain at the lower point only. That means we can have, if we can have more profit. Okay, we have the chance of having more profit, right? So selling price increases. Okay, if the selling price decreases, what happens? The contribution margin gets reduced. Here the selling price is reducing, but the cost is not going to reduce. So automatically contribution margin is reduced. To maintain the same profit, the firm has to produce more number of goods. We can easily identify that. We can easily identify. So selling price increases, contribution margin increases. So the break-even point will be becoming less. Variable cost decreases. That means automatically the number of break-even point is also will be reduced. If the variable cost increases or fixed cost is increasing, that means the break-even point to maintain break-even point, there is no profit, no loss condition, you have to produce more number of goods. Okay. So we have some problems regarding this determining the break-even point when there is an increase in the fixed cost. Okay. See here, the firm has a fixed cost of rupees 50,000 rupees. Selling price per unit is 50 and variable cost per unit is 25. Present level of production is 3,500 units. So what we have to identify, we have to determine the break-even point in terms of volumes and also in the sales value. We also have to calculate the margin of safety. What is the change in the break-even point and margin of safety if fixed cost increases from 50,000 rupees to the 60,000 rupees? Okay, you have to calculate all this. So these problems are very, very important. That is the reason why we are discussing this one very, very detailedly. Okay, definitely you are going to have a problem on this, even in your mid exams and even in your external exams also. If you can go through with your previous question papers, you can identify the problems on this. Okay, so first we have to identify the break-even point in number of units. Break-even point in units is nothing but the fixed cost divided by the contribution margin per unit. Okay, so here the fixed cost is 50,000 rupees. Fixed cost is around 50,000 rupees. So 50,000. How to get this contribution margin per unit? Contribution margin per unit is nothing but the selling price per unit minus the variable cost per unit. So 50 rupees is the selling price per unit and its variable cost is 25. So we got an contribution margin per unit, that is around 25. So what are the fixed costs in rupees? We have 50,000 rupees is the fixed costs and contribution margin per unit is 25. So we can produce around 2,000 number of units. So that means if we are producing 2,000 number of units only, we don't have any profit or loss. That is the break-even point in the units. That thing we have to remember. And if you want in terms of rupees, break-even point in the sales value. Sales value in the sense here rupees is the sales value rate. So fixed costs divided by contribution margin ratio. Here, when it is per unit, this is like this contribution margin per unit. So when it is in the sales value, we write here contribution margin ratio. contribution margin per unit, and this is contribution margin ratio if you want in rupees. So here we take the help of selling price and variable cost. Selling price is 50 and variable cost is also 25 divided by selling price. It is 25 by 50, that is around 0.5, right? So break-even point in terms of sales value is calculated below, right? This fixed cost is right 50,000 divided by 25 by 50, it is around 1 lakh rupees. If your sales, if your sales are around 1 lakh rupees, then you don't have any profit or loss. If it is below that, you are in the loss. If it is above that, you are in the profit. Okay. So we got both in terms of number of units and we got both in terms of rupees also. So if you are producing 2000 number of units, you don't have any profit or loss. If you produce less than this, you will go in this number of units, you will have a loss. If your sales is about 1 lakh rupees, we don't have any profit or loss. If it is more than that, we will have profit. If it is less than that, we will have loss. Okay. Determination of margin of safety. We have to determine the margin of safety. What is this margin of safety? So, so determine the margin of safety means here number of units sold so far minus the break-even point sales. Okay, that gives us the margin of safety. Okay, here you see here what they have mentioned. Present level of production is 35,000 units or 3,500 units. Our break-even point sales is only 2,000 units. So the margin is 15. This 3,500 minus this 2,000 gives us the margin of safety units. That is around 1,500 units. Is our margin of safety in terms of units. Okay. So determination of break-even point with a fixed cost of 60. So what they have mentioned in last, what is the change in the break-even point and margin of safety if the fixed cost is increased from 50,000 units to 60,000 units? Here, the first they have given us fixed cost of 50,000 rupees, but now they want to make the fixed cost as 60,000 rupees, and we have to determine the total thing. So here, we have contribution margin per unit. We are once again we are identifying the break-even point in terms of units. Selling price per unit is 50 minus 25. So it is 25, it's well and good. Now the fixed cost previously is 50,000. Now the fixed cost is around 60,000. So we got as 2,400 units. Previously it is only 2,000 units. So the fixed, see, you can identify clearly that since the fixed cost has been increased, the break-even point units is increased. In the similar fashion also, we calculated for in terms of sales value. It is now becoming 1,20,000 rupees. Okay. So previously it is only 1 lakh. If you have sold only for 1 lakh rupees, it is sufficient. We are in the break-even point. There is no profit, no loss condition. But now we have to produce. Your sales has to reach around 1,20,000 rupees. Then only we'll have break-even point where we don't have profit or loss. So now previously we have a margin of safety around 1 lakh. Margin of safety around 1,500 units. At present level, even though the fixed cost has increased, the number of volumes so far sold is only 3,500 units. So we have a decrease in the margin of safety. It is previously it is 1,500 units, now it is only 1,100 units. So the above calculations show that the firm has to produce 400 more units in the event of increase in the fixed cost by 10,000 rupees. Okay. This reduced the margin of safety also by 400 units. Okay, previously it is 1,500, now it is only 1,100. So it is observed that the margin of safety has reduced by 400 units. So finally, we will conclude this break-even analysis, right? what is the significance and limitations we can see. So break-even analysis is a valuable tool. We can identify it, right? Okay. So it is helping. It is helping us to know. It is making us to know the profit on particular level of sales volumes and given capacity of production, and it is helping us to calculate the sales required to earn a particular desired level of profit. Okay. To compare the product line, sales area, methods of sales of individual company. Okay, it is to compare the product line. That means whether to introduce a new product or to not to introduce the new product. That is also, it is giving us efficiency of different frames. Okay, particular product to be existing product line or drop one from it. Okay, so existing product has to be continued or it has to be dropped also. It is saying us, and also it is also has given us whether we have to make or we have to buy from others. Such type of concepts also we have given. We are able to know. That is where when we go with the spare parts, okay, a particular company, and to decide what phenomenon mix is yields a good optimum sales. Okay, these things we already have seen all these concepts in our problems, right? Then, so what are the limitations of break-even analysis? Break-even analysis is also having some limitations. What is it? Break-even point is based on fixed cost and variable cost and total revenue only. So if there is any change in all the three or any one, the break-even point is going to vary. Okay. So here we assumed, so far we have already told that the total costs are of only two varieties, either fixed or the variable. But every time we can't classify the costs as either fixed cost or variable cost. There will be other type of costs also. We have semi-variable costs also. Okay. In case of product film, a single chart cannot be of any use. Okay, we have, so you have seen that we have combination of A and B and C and D, so BC and CD. So a single chart is not sufficient for us to analyze the total thing. So when we have multiple products, we have different combination of charts, right? A with B one chart, B with C another chart, A with C another chart, like this. We have different charts combinations. So that means we have to do that also actually to know, to run your business in perfect profit condition. Just we have to do that work, rigorous work, right? So this total thing is with respect to the short run period only. Since we have fixed costs, in the long run, there will not be any fixed costs. Okay, everything is going to vary in the long run. Short run means within the short span of 1 year below only. Okay, right. So this holds good only for short runs. Okay, total cost and the total revenue lines are not always straight, as we shown in the figure. Okay, I already said that these revenue curves, total revenue or total cost curves, they will not be always in a straight line. Just for our convenience, we have taken, right. So actually, we also said that this phenomenon of cost discounts, price discounts, this is not possible in this break-even analysis. That for that we also have given an example. If you are buying a single product, we get it for 10 rupees. If we are buying 5 units at a time, we are getting it for 40 rupees only. So this type of concept doesn't work in this break-even point analysis. Okay. Generally, the business conditions will be volatile. That means it will be varying all the time. Break-even point cannot give stable results. Okay. This break-even point cannot give the stable results. Okay. Business scenario will be varying continuously. You can observe that one. Okay. So these are the above limitations. So generally, if you have any business proposals, These things has to be done with the help of break-even analysis or break-even points only. So similar to the bankers and other financial agencies exclusively will rely upon the break-even point of the borrower. Okay. So if you go for a loan to any finance agency or else in the for a banker, we have to give him the detailed report of your FRIM. So how many number of goods you are going to produce, how much amount you can sell, what is the cost, these things, everything you have to give in a detailed report, and they will analyze with your break-even analysis concept whether it is going to work properly or not. If not, they are not going to if they are not satisfied, they are not going to give you the chance. Okay, that means they are not going to give you the loan. Okay.